This is going to be a very serious video. And this is me actually talking about my personal experiences with struggling with being gay and being a Christian.
Fucking faggot.
The second you see your son dropping the limp wrist, you walk over there and crack that wrist.
Being gay and lesbian or whatever, homosexual, is wrong according to the Bible.
Each session he would say, okay, God hates that. God doesn't want you to be that way. And here's a Bible verse to fix it.
And try to remember everything. I really can't remember everything. I might have blocked a lot of it out.
Either you go to conversion therapy or you won't see your family and we won't pay for your education.
Gay is a sin, gay is evil, gay is the worst abomination of God, gay is horrible.
You're a disgrace to God's love.
Look, no queers allowed in this church. And all God's people said,
Telling kids that being gay is a sin, or getting married is a sin, or whatever, that in itself is incredibly destructive and damaging.
Maybe they weren't really gay to begin with. Maybe they were molested.
Sodomy has always been an abomination. Both Old and New Testament has always been, in God's view, punishable by death.
I don't want to remember it because it was kind of painful.
oh, we need to pray for him that he finds Jesus. I'm going to pray that he dies and goes to hell.
So I grew up in a Christian home, and my parents were not actually a going to church kind of Christians, but they were a cultural Christian. All of my life, I've actually been in a Christian background, even though I wasn't in church, but my family still had like Christian beliefs. One of the things that have always triggered me was that I was different than everybody in my family. I was kind of ostracized than everybody in my family. I act differently, I talk differently, I behave differently. And so when I went to school, people bullied me for being gay. And then when I went home, people also, treated me different because everybody thought I was being a sissy, a faggot. They just basically felt like I was going down the path of being gay. But not to go on my whole life story, but to fast forward. When I got into high school, especially my last year in high school, I found God. I had a really good and strong encounter with God, and that led me to further go into the Christian faith and, have a relationship with God, have a relationship with Jesus. But I would never forget, I went on a mission trip, and that was also the summer before me going into my senior year. I'll never forget I accepted God into my life. And I was riding with my mom, and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I accepted Jesus into my life when I got home. And one of the things that my mom told me was, a man and a man cannot be together. Having that in my mind, having that instilled in me, knowing that being gay was wrong and that you can't be a Christian and serve God and that you can't basically do both. You have to pick one or the other. But if you pick one, you are condemned to go to hell and to die. To me, it made me push forward more into being a Christian. It wasn't until my last year being in college, I remember I liked this guy. And I remember I had such a huge crush on him. And I remember I just had all these feelings. But then the thing was, those feelings that I had, it was the same feelings I've had like when I was in elementary school or when I was in middle school, when I was in high school with different other guys. And I knew right then and there that the feeling that I felt wasn't different, that I knew that I actually liked guys. And I, for so long and throughout those years, tried to push that down, or felt like if I ignored it, I would have turned out to being gay. I never really told people through my whole process of being in college, in high school, was that I used to actually pray to God that I would not be gay. I used to pray and ask God to take that away from me. I used to cry myself to sleep because I was literally begging God just to take it from me. I just didn't want to be gay. I just didn't want to go to hell. I didn't want to take on this sin. I didn't want to take on this identity, especially because a lot of people have treated me so badly for thinking that I was gay, and I just couldn't take that losing people and losing friendships and losing social bonds. I mean, I was also in that track of wanting to be a pastor, so I knew that I couldn't be at a pulpit and be a pastor and be gay. I knew that was two things that I could not do. And so I was praying, I was asking, and I was begging, and I was pleading, and I was just trying to come up with any way that I could just to ask God just to take me being gay away. And then I was also being from a spiritual background, more into the Christian faith. I just always believed that it was a demon, that I had a demon inside of me, that I needed to pray that demon away, and that I was just possessed with that demon, and I needed to release myself from it so I can do better and live with God unabandonedly and freely. After that, I started seeing guys. I started being with guys. I started, hanging out with them, being involved with guys. And then I had got a offer to go to New Orleans for a summer. And then that was when I found out that I really actually was fully gay, that I did not actually have any feelings for women the same way that I had for men. And that all those things was kind of different, and it kind of shifted for me. So after I realized that I was gay, I ended up going to Michigan for a year, and I actually was interning at a church for a year. And honestly, my mindset that whole year was that I'm going to pray this gay away. I'm not going to be gay forever. I'm going to be straight. I'm going to have a family. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to have a wife. Everything's going to line up. And it prevented me from telling people that I was gay. It was preventing me to come out and telling people, like, this is my preference and what I wanted. Because this whole time I was like, I'm not going to be gay. I'm going to turn to God and do the right thing. I'm not going to go to hell because of the decisions that I've made and what I choose to put myself in. So it was month after month after month of telling myself I was going to get over it, that I was going to beat this, and that I was going to not accept myself for being gay, that I was going to end up being a straight man and being in the church. I knew that no one was going to accept me for what my lifestyle was if I chose to be gay. From there, I actually was depressed. I actually hated myself a lot. I actually did not love myself the way I felt like I could. And honestly, I went through a phase to where I wanted to commit suicide because I felt like I would rather die to push forward than deal with homosexuality, because it was just better to die than just deal with it and be involved and go ahead and go down that straight and narrow path of going to hell. I just wanted to just basically cling on to my relationship with God and keep my position in heaven to where I feel like I was rightfully placed. So it just kind of affected me. So at the end of my internship at the church, I went back home, and that's where I said to myself, Reggie, you're just gay. And you are trying so hard to fight this. You're trying so hard not to be gay. You're trying so hard to avoid of who you actually are. This is just who you are. I mean, at that point, I was with meeting and being involved with, few guys and going on dates and having gay friends and, meeting gay people. I didn't have gay friends, but beyond that, it was just like I was so into it, and it felt so right. And it felt so wrong. Like, when I got comfortable with the guy, and then when me and him liked each other, I will always feel bad because, in the back of my mind, I just knew that me being with the guy was wrong. From there, I moved to Savannah, and I started learning more about myself. I was basically living my life by what people were saying. I was living my life by people's opinions. I was living my life by old wounds that I was getting from people, yelling at me for being gay, jacking me up for being gay, beating me for being gay, abusing me, being bullied for being gay, and sitting in those pews and sitting and talking to different people that was in a church setting. And when it came up the topic of talking about gay people, all these horrible things to say about gay people, throwing up scriptures and, saying how wrongful it is, how disgusted they are, and how, gay people are filthy, all those negative things. And I don't need to get into those details, but I let all that sit in my mind and marinate. And it just affected me from outwardly enjoying myself for who I was. Not only did it affect me and my relationships with people and me just going to church and me just wanting to be involved, honestly, it affected my relationship with God. I mean, it made me just felt like God would never love me the same. It just made me felt like God just looked at me differently. And that I wasn't seen as loved. I wasn't seen as, someone who was worth giving a life that was beautiful to live. It just made me feel like I was just foul and dirty and destined to just die. And even in my relationship with God before me being gay, I struggled with just worth. And I think that just kind of made it worse than what it was. I mean, it was just days to where I just felt like God would just punish me, and that I would never be blessed, and that I would never achieve a lot, that I would never have healthy relationships, and that I would never be worthy of just being alive. And I think that was just more hurtful than anything. What I've gotten to so far currently in my life right now, I have actually put my relationship with God and, Christianity to a halt. And then working on myself more as a gay man and being proud of who I am and what I like and who I prefer to be with. But then there's also that side of me that wakes up and I'm nervous and I'm scared about life because, again, I can't undo what people have told me. And I can't undo being told that I was just an abomination and that me choosing this is me choosing hell, or me choosing this is choosing to be a dirty, foul person. Me choosing this is just taking on all, the negative views of what people have against gay people, the LGBT community as a whole. And so to end this and to say what I have to say, because I don't want to make this a long video, Christianity has affected me in a positive way, but when it comes to my sexuality, it put me in a box of discomfort, because a discomfort that I feel like I am trying now to work on to get outside of, to feel more comfortable with myself, because for so long hearing my parents and hearing my family and hearing church friends and hearing church groups and churches and ceremonies and sermons and going on mission trips and hearing people's opinions, because this is one of those things that's always talked about in the Christian setting, at least the ones that I've always been in. And just to hear all these negative things about people, it actually honestly scared me to coming out and telling people that I was gay. Honestly, ever since I came out a few months ago on Instagram, I've lost a lot of social bonds, a lot of Christian friends, a lot of people who looked up to me or I looked up to, or we encouraged each other. I've actually lost those bonds. I've lost support from a lot of pastors. I've lost a lot of respect for people who was in ministries. I've lost a lot of respect for people in the Christian community. I lost a lot of friends, and and it sucks. And that was one thing I feared about coming out and living this life. But I've learned that it was rather better for me to be open and to be who I am. So for those of you out there who are struggling with being gay and being a Christian, it gets easier when you talk to someone about it. It gets easier when you can actually open up and talk to someone who understands where you're coming from. Can you be both? Right now, where I stand, I feel like you can. God accepted a lot of people in the Bible who are sinners. God accepted a lot of people who were foul, dirty, and seen as just someone who was below scum. And he made them out of someone. And they became one of the most effective people who ministered his word and was effective to the kingdom. So if you're struggling, I would like this video and the examples of things that I've told you to be a light to a path that you can walk onto and feel more comfortable with yourself.